An ill wind for the fishing industries off of the Jersey coast. Alcoholic beverages being delivered by car. Beach badges are limited this season. And the Bonka Purdue food program. And the virus devastates college towns. There is so much news to be told. On this episode of the Chef Hour News with your host, Chef Pete, it is starting right now.
What's your politics? What's your religion? What's your intake? Your reason for living? What's your politics? What's your What's your intake? Your reason for living?
Good morning, chefs, and thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Chef Hour News. First and foremost, chefs, please do me a quick favor and hit that like and subscribe button just down below this video. There'll also be a button at the end of the video as well with links to other videos that I may have from the past. So with that being said, chefs, we're going to get into our first segment of today, which is ill winds for fishing industries off of the Jersey coastline. So the North Jersey coast, or I should say the South Jersey coastline between Cape May and Atlantic City, so about 313,000, close to 314,000 acres of the Atlantic Ocean is now being leased to 3 energy companies off of the Jersey coast. This green energy will limit access to the fishing industries. So the fisheries that excavate the danger that they face will be hurting their profits, I should say. And with that, like a lot of the scallop boaters go out into the bay and they go out just off the coastline to pick up the scallops just by dragging their nets, and they can tear up their nets very easily with wiring and stuff like that. I know that this industry has 37,000 jobs, okay, and it makes a revenue of over $6.3 billion a year. Really, really big revenue for our economy, especially for for New Jersey. And with that, 2 out of 3 have confirmed or are tentative to make the confirmation of allowing the fishing industries to fish within their leased areas, meaning that they will not be restricted areas for the fishing industry to actually go and harvest and fish and everything else. Now, what I would like to see, there are prototypes and everything else out there. You can go ahead, Asbury Park Press has a major issue on this as well, with a couple photos of it. There's also prototypes, pictures of prototypes that you can find basically researching on the web as well. But the prototype, what I really like to see is, I'm all for green energy, but what I really like to see is how they're going to be able to lay the wiring. I know that we have wiring going across the oceans from what we used to do, the telegraph, and with that they used to lay the wire across the ocean. I don't remember if they laid it in underneath the sand, but that would be really interesting to actually be clarified on, to see whether they're just going to lay it on top of the sand on top of the bottom or underneath the sand basin itself. But with that being said, Chef, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break from our first segment here. I will be right back in just a bit. I'm going to be explaining to you how New Jersey just passed a bill into legislation, not this past week, but the prior week, for restaurant owners to allow alcoholic beverages to be delivered by car. So it can be cocktails, it can be drinks, but they have to be in the steel container. But more on that right after this quick break. Welcome back, chefs, to the Chef Hour News with your host, Chef Pete. So alcoholic beverages are now being allowed for restaurant owners to be delivered by car in delivery and orders and everything else. So mixed cocktail drinks and cocktails, including kits, whether they are pre-made or they're put together for the consumer to put together themselves, is being allowed, but they must be delivered in in a sealed container while during this process. Excuse me. So with that, the legislative has passed making it legal to sell mixed drinks during the COVID-19 state of emergency. New Jersey restaurants and hospitality industry has suffered so much from this, and they have. And I have not experienced it firsthand myself, not being a restaurant owner, but I have seen and I know the pain that they're going through. Just being as an intern on a farm right now, a little side note, I'm seeing that there is a lot of restrictions that we cannot do to overcome this, and we're trying so hard as we can. And I understand that with restaurant owners as well, they're trying to do the best that they can. And please do not. I understand that we're under a lot of mental stress right now, especially being under quarantine for over 2 months, about a month and a half to 2 months. Please, 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 please. We're all going through the same situation that you're going through. Let's all just, like my favorite artist that says, let's love everyone. All right, spread the love. Okay, and that's all I'm asking. Just spread the love. Okay, we're doing the best we can in the restaurant industry, and I know that everyone is doing the best that they can. We all are, and we all are feeling the same way. And I am glad that this is being allowed for restaurateurs that have a liquor license on the premise to be able to deliver their drinks or their moneymaker, their profit, to the consumer itself, instead of having to have it especially sit on themselves as well. Speaking of sitting on the shelves, a little bit later in the show, I'll be talking about Ivanka and Purdue. Sonny Purdue has come up with a food program to help farmers out and not allowing their stuff to sit around. So more on that later, chefs. These segments are quite short today, and I'm going to take another quick break, and we will be back with beach badges being limited on the Jersey Shore, on the Jersey coastline. And more on that after this quick break. Welcome back, chefs. This is your host, Chef Pete, on the Chef's Hour News. We're talking about beach badges and how they're being limited. So a lot of places sell thousands and thousands of beach badges up along the Jersey coastline, especially in high areas like Asbury Park. Asbury Park, for example, is only selling 6,000 badges this year. And I know for a fact, because I've seen it firsthand, and walking up and down the great the good old Asbury Park Boardwalk, that there is a lot more, possibly a lot more than 6,000 beach badgers on that beach. Um, but then again, that's just myself just looking over the crowd. But beyond the point there, so a lot of beach towns are limiting access to inhibit or mitigate the spread of COVID, and also they want to allow us to have more room to practice our social distancing as well. I have not heard anything yet, but I know that Governor Cuomo has um, not had not reopened any of New York City's beaches, and a lot of them are flocking down to the Jersey Shore, and they're flocking to meaning that they're going. They're also going to Long Beach Island. They're going to Connecticut. They're going to Rhode Island, Martha's Vineyard. They're just trying to get to a beach somewhere, even if they have to travel for it. They will go. They will go to that place. And speaking of travel, real quick, gas prices are coming down. Phenomenal. Memorial Day weekend. Let's jack the gas prices up. I understand we all want to make money here, but so our gas reserves are supposedly have been capped off, and I believe that they have been because gas prices have come down quite significantly over the past 2 months or so here. But with Memorial Day weekend, gas prices are expected to remain on average around $2, anywhere between $2 and $2.20 a gallon in the tri-state area here. If you go anywhere else in the country, I know in North Carolina, I've had friends, and my girlfriend is in South Carolina right now, and they're seeing $1.60, $1.65 down there. So it does vary nationally as well. But hang in there, gas prices are expected to fall again, as experts have said. And I'm just waiting for that day to come, because I like to see $1.65 up here in New Jersey, or even less, $1.25 that I've heard that we may be expecting to see over the summer. So with that being said, chefs, we're going to head and end this segment, take a little quick break here again. And when we come back, we're going to talk about how Ivanka and Sonny Perdue are initiating a food program. And with that food program, well, you're going to have to stick around and find out right after this quick break. Welcome back, chefs. This is your host, Chef Pete, on the Chef's Hour News here on the YouTube channel. If you haven't already, please hit that like and subscribe button. Like and subscribe button down below. Also, too, hit that little bell icon there too. You can customize it to your own liking, whether you want all my videos or just some of my videos. So please also click that bell button down below as well. And towards the end of the video here, I will have actual buttons on your screen. They'll pop up wherever, and that you can actually click onto it to be subscribed to my show. Also, too, the Chef's Hour store is online. A link will be in the description as well. And a little promo at the end of the video to just to kind of show you what's on, what kind of apparel and products are on there as well. And so with that being said, chefs, let's get back into the swing of things here with culinary news. So Sonny Perdue and Ivanka Trump has initiated a food program. They were on tour not this past week, but the week before. The touring around all the manufacturing, the meat processing plants, and everything else, just seeing what they can do to kind of help save the food that's potentially being thrown away, which has been thrown away. I've seen farmers, dairy farmers on Facebook. Um, Shout out to Derek in Oregon with Tillamook. He he's been very well, but I've heard from other farmers where they have to literally dump out their milk because no consumer is buying it, and it's sad to hear that. And I'm just grateful that I don't have to witness that firsthand. But I mean, a little side note: going to the grocery store and seeing somebody throw 15 bags on a product. Let's just say I turned my back the last time. But anyway, besides the point. So, billions of dollars, of course, are being lost during this pandemic. This has gone to food waste during the. So instead of the food being delivered, okay, to the consumer itself, whatever is left over will be delivered to the local food bank. So, which I actually like. Not Governor Cuomo. Bill De Blasio has initiated this food program in New York City as well, where they're allowing perishable foods to be donated to the food banks in New York City, and will allow them to allow the consumers who cannot afford what we can afford, the special perishable foods that they need that is of dire need for our diets. Also, too, Purdue has announced last month that the department will spend $3 billion in coronavirus relief money to buy and distribute agricultural goods through regional and local distributions. Also, too, this particular food program is called Farmers to Families Food Box Program, which I actually like. I would rather, I understand that we're throwing a lot of this stuff out too, but I would like to see this develop a little bit more, and potentially maybe having a local sustainable food system down the road be part of this, like almost like a CSA, rather, where we can have there's more a community outreach with local agriculture and organic and sustainable foods itself. But also too, so Coastal Sunbelt Produce has received a USDA contract to be able to recall 50 furloughed employees to work on the food box program. And also too, the last point here is that Donald Trump has praised the program. At an unrelated White House event last Friday, last week, he has stated that it'll be helping farmers, ranchers, but it'll be bringing food to some of the food lines and some of the food kitchens that you've been seeing on television. He has stated, and I have seen it. No, I haven't seen. I actually agree with this. It's going to bring food closer to the communities. It's going to bring the community and agriculture closer together, where this is not an out of reach item for somebody that is not able to afford it or doesn't have the budget for it. And so more on that, I have a presentation which I am trying to figure out how I can present it to you chefs. But more to come on that at a later date. That being said, chefs, this will end this segment. When we come back, we're going to talk about college towns, how this COVID-19 virus is actually devastating those towns financially. Restaurateurs and business owners are mourning over this because they're not making enough profits. More on that when we return after this short, quick break. Welcome back to the Chef's Hour News, chefs. My name is Chef Pete. I am your host. So our last segment for today is that a virus devastates the college towns. This has a tremendous impact in any college town. So if you have a college in your town, you're going to feel this significantly in your finances. To point out, universities are definitely a lifeblood to local economies. So those of Notre Dame and reading through my notes real quickly here, Clemson's University, those towns are really, really seeing a financial uh, difficulties. So if those that don't know, Notre Dame, I believe, is in Michigan, and Clemson is in South Carolina. So these two are kind of, there are multiple colleges, Boston University in Boston. You have, oh man, you have so many out there, so many that I can't even recall off the top of my head right now. But their feeling is very, 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 very much. And a lot of the spring breakers who were able to go down for spring break have been didn't see a tremendous loss out of it, but there was a lot of college students, especially classmates of mine, who some did go and forth with it and they were fine with it. Others were kind of really concerned about this, and they just canceled out almost last minute, and that was before when we were having concerns of this. But now that these college towns are out of business, these college students are out of colleges or university for about 2 months, a little over actually 2 months, over 2 months. I know March 20th is when I got um, my vacate notice from Montclair State, and it's already this recording date of Friday, May 22nd. So the 23rd for you chefs that are viewing this. So it's been over 2 months since colleges have been closed up, and it's hard financially to try to meet to break even, because your revenue is based off of college students. And my heart goes out to these college towns. I hope these business owners will rebound back from this, as again, we're all feeling it. Every single one of us, whether we are furloughed from our job, we are laid off, okay, or we are an entrepreneur in any type of business. There are businesses out right now that are trying to open up, and they can open up. They're getting cease and assist letters. Salons like out in, I believe it's Michigan. I know another one's in Louisiana or Texas. We have a store down in Cape May that have trying to open up, which they believed that they were an essential store, which they will be able to open up because they sold food. And unfortunately, the state came down and told them that they couldn't open up. So we're all getting frustrated by this. And we all want this economy to open up. But we also have to realize, too, I understand why they're slowly reopening this, but also at the same time, the economy needs to be reopened back up sooner rather than later. Because if we continue to go forth like this, we're not going to survive as a society. Because society is going to break one day from this, whether it's from mentally insaneness, from being quarantined all the time, or whether it's economy. Our economy can collapse in a matter of minutes. So there's a lot that goes into play, and I hope that and everyone probably feels the same way, that this needs to kind of end and kind of get back going. Whether it's we are on different grounds of the retail business, or where we receive our revenue, whether it's online based, whether it's we're doing hybrids where groups of people go back to work this day, and then the next day, Group A goes one day, Group B goes the next day, Group C, Group D, so on and so forth. Whether we do that, or whether we uh, just keep our, stay online and network online and do all this other stuff, and just try to, make something out of it as well. So there is a lot of questions that need to be clarified. And not only do these questions need to be clarified, also too, there is a lot of reasons why, not reasons why, but more or less, what do we need to do next? Where do we need to go from here? So that being said, chefs, I'm actually skipping the recalls section of the show this week, only because there's a lot going on, and there's a lot of paranoia as well. And with that, I want to try to keep the paranoia level down this week. And if you do are interested, or you want to know if there is any recalls, food recalls this week or the past couple weeks, because the show has not been aired for about 3 weeks now, and due to finals and stuff. But you can hop on and go over to the foodsafetynews.com, and they have a full list of recalls and outbreaks from foodborne illnesses that you can actually go and take a look at yourself as well. That's where I get all my recalls. I feel that is probably the national source for food recalls and food outbreaks, because it is delivered by the CDC, the USDA, all sorts of agricultural and food societies that are at a federal level. So with that being said, chefs, we're going to go into the recipe of the week. This is actually going to be a side dish, something a little bit different. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. I will be right back after this short break. Welcome back, chefs, to the Chef Hour News. I am Chef Pete, your host, and this is the recipe of the week. This recipe is a side dish. This is a 2-to-1 ratio, as most chefs will know. For your home chefs, I do love you so much as well, because you're actually doing some cooking around, cooking in your life, and I love, and kudos to you. Congrats. With that being said, this is the 2-to-1 ratio, or 2 cups to 1 cup. So it's 2 cups of water to 1 cup of rice. So this recipe is actually called the farm fresh arugula and rice. Okay, it is a side dish. So 2 cups of water to 2 cups of water to 1 cup of rice. And you can also use a little bit of salt and pepper if you like, but and also I'd say about 2 tablespoons of butter to put into it. I always eyeball my butter when I put it into my rice. So you boil the water off, and you let it sit for about 20 minutes. So it's going to cook for 15, and while it's cooking, the temperature is lowering. And then once the 15-minute mark hits, it's basically just resting at that point for 5 minutes. And once you lift the lid off, you just go ahead and you just fluff it off with a fork, and you add about 2 pinches. I would say a little bit more than 2 pinches. I used about 4, and just rip it. I'll always love ripping my lettuce and any type of green. I think it's more rustic that way. It gives it more texture. You can also finely chop this as well, like you would with parsley. But the arugula is very peppery in flavor, especially if you get it right from a farm, like an organic farm or something. It's gonna have that peppery flavor. Always, always, always taste an arugula leaf because most arugulas are overly peppery, which has got a good spice to it, and others have a slight spice of pepper, a taste of pepper, I should say. And with that, you can kind of indicate how much arugula you want to put into this. So with this, served as a side entree, I did an orange chicken with this. So an orange chicken recipe would be like just marinating it in Worcestershire, cube chicken in Worcestershire, flouring and cornstarch, heating it up, throw some vegetables into it, and throwing a cranberry orange marmalade into it that I get from a local farm. And I've done multiple dishes with that, but this is an experiment of mine, which many chefs probably know about, that probably have done this before. But this was my first time. It was a great success having this little side dish, making up on the spot. But I believe that this side dish, the arugula, it really brings out the rice in this meal, and also complements any type of poultry or beef type of meal, especially if you're looking for a little bit of a peppery flavor in your dish. And you don't want it from the main component like the beef or the chicken, okay, and have it from the side component. With that being said, Chef, thank you so much for tuning in to the Chef Hour News. Again, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that bell icon down below. And shortly after this promo of the Chef Hour store, there'll be something around little buttons that you can press. You can go back and watch one of my old recordings, old videos, I should say, Chef Hour radio video, and you can also subscribe from there as well. That being said, chefs, stay safe and stay healthy and stay positive. We'll all get through this together. And not only that, but we'll all succeed, both mentally, financially, and physically as well. So that being said, chefs, this is the end of the show. I'll catch you next week. Same chef time, same chef place, here on the official Chef Hour YouTube channel with the Chef's Hour News. Catch you chefs later. Hey chefs, don't forget to hop on over to the official Chef Hour store where you can get your Chef Hour radio merchandise. Chef Hour News merchandise is still to come. And you can even check out our old Chef's Hour merchandise that we had back on air at 107.9 WRML. Pretty cool logo there, so don't forget to go check that out. Link will be in the description. And keep stopping in and checking back soon because there is more merchandise to come. If you purchase today to April 30th, you'll be able to receive a 25% discount off with just Home Chef 25 as your promo code at checkout. Again, that promo code is Home Chef 25. I'll catch you chefs later.